Bob Maloney from MyMMAnews.com, and I am talking to Tom Freight Train Lane. Tom has a fight coming up at LFA 180, and I have had the pleasure of calling a couple of Tom's fights at Ring of Combat in Atlantic City. He's making the trek to Kentucky from North Carolina, and Tom is a monster of a fighter. He's got a great wrestling background. But Tom, man, before we get into all the good stuff about the fights, how you feeling? Like you're coming 3 pro fights now. You're a veteran of the sport, basically. This is like routine for you. How's the body feeling? Have you been able to stay away from all those nicks and cuts and bruises and the shit that slows you down?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling great. It's been a good training camp actually, and I'm excited to put on a performance. I feel like this is the first time like getting more comfortable in this thing. I had no amateur fights, so this is my 4th pro fight, my 4th fight in general. So now I'm getting more comfortable with the process. I'm just ready to rock and roll and have some fun.
As your career has progressed, like we said, you've had 3 pro fights, 3-0. You're going into your 4th pro camp. Is there something different that you concentrated on, or has it just been like the same thing over and over again? You're taking on a guy like Del Miller that we don't know much about because he hasn't been in the cage for so long. He looks like he's a tall, rangy guy, and I'm saying to myself, analyzing the fight, listen, I don't know much about the guy, but I'm saying that guy has a chest that looks like Tom's going to put a hole in if he gets a hold of him. And so how have you guys approached this fight, not being able to have much information on your opponent?
I think it's just getting me getting better every single day. That's what's important. And I think the plan is, like, it's a little cliche, but we're trying to let the cage on fire. Like, I'm going out there and just show all my tools. I mean, I haven't had, like, you've watched me on cage side corner me, and like, people say do this and do that, but I haven't had to show what I'm capable of yet. Like, and with my wrestling background, I'd be able to just take him down and maul people. But like, I feel like maybe this fight shows some more tools. I've been working a lot on the passing guard, and I'm looking for a finish. Like, we're going in there with a finishing mentality and get this guy exhausted and try to get him out of there quick.
That's great. Because listen, like you said, you graduated college a while back and you just weren't you want to be in the gym. So obviously that's what you love to do. Wrestled, you got the great cardio. Talk to me a little bit about it. Have you looked at the rest of the card? Listen, you're at LFA now. Have you looked at the co-main event? Because it's a 185 title fight. I mean, those guys, if you win this fight, those guys could be in your range. Have you thought about that at all? Looked at the rest of the card?
Yes, no. I mean, like, they're on their thing, I'm on my thing, and like, at the end of the day, like, I know how good I am, I know what I'm capable of, and like, yeah, if I see that guy Dylan Bucko or Osmot, whatever, I can't say his last name, down the road, that'd be awesome. But like, it's whatever. They go fight for the belt. Like, I think I have my belief that I'm the best 85-pound on the card, and they're fighting for the belt. That's awesome. But I do believe that I am the best 185-pound person on that card, hands down. And if we put us all four in the fight, I think I come out on top every single time. So that's my confidence. But they're fighting for the belt, and that's awesome. And they're on their own story, and I'm on my own story. So at the end of the day, all I got to worry about is Lydell Miller, and we got to fight. And if I get through this, maybe I fight them in the future, maybe not. Like, I'm just taking it one fight at a time.
Has it been frustrating for you? Because I know it's been difficult to find opponents. I mean, people, they obviously are going to say, somebody calls and say, hey, you want to fight Tom Lane? And they say, you've pretty much manhandled 3 opponents with just taking them down and beating them up. Has it been frustrating for you and trying to find opponents? Because I know that
it definitely has. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but yes, it's definitely been very frustrating. But I guess it is what it is. I mean, I guess the credit to my team and I that we're getting good. We're good at this thing. I mean, I really think, like, this fight especially, it's kind of weird, but like, this is like I feel like it's a pro debut again, because this is the first fight with all the unified rules. Ring combat's a little different. They can't throw elbows on the ground. So I just think in my head, like, this is kind of a pro debut. Like, those first fights were amateur fights for me, and that this is a pro debut fight for me where I can throw elbows. I can use all my tools, all my weapons, and I'm excited to be able to show what I can do with elbows. Like, you watched me fight before. Like, imagine me with elbows. I think it's gonna be kind of a scary thing.
Yeah, you know what? If elbows were allowed, I think you would have at least 2 of your fights would have been finishes if elbows were allowed. I completely agree with you there, without a doubt, because, I mean, I don't know the exact minutes, but you spent the majority of those fights in the mounted position. So,
yeah.
I agree.
So that's where I agree with you. Like I think like we're going with this mentality of like we worked a lot. It's been a lot of work in the training room. I mean, me and Chris Weidman have spent a lot of time in jiu-jitsu passing guard, and me and Jeff Jimmo spent a lot of time striking. And I'm excited to put on performance, just put on a statement win for the next 20 wins.
Listen, you were talking about Chris Weidman. Chris relocated down to North Carolina. How's it been training with, a former world champion, a guy who's seen everything that you could see, a guy who battled back from injuries, a guy who had a belt, a guy who's been at the top? How's it been, with Chris? He seems to be like a great guy as well as a great coach.
Yeah, no, it's been great, man. He's been a training partner and it's good and a coach in some points for me, but it's been good to see how he operates. Like, I mean, in my opinion, arguably he's one of the greatest middleweights of all time. You can't say that. And he's still writing a story, and he still has some left in the tank. So that's prompts you that he's not done yet. But it's been great. I mean, you can't really get a better blueprint of a person to follow than Chris Weidman. I mean, he is every college wrestler's blueprint of how to succeed. I mean, no fighter fought for the belt and won the title.
Yeah, and listen, also too, this has got to be exciting because LFA. Listen, LFA is one of the main feeder programs to the UFC. You're on UFC Fight Pass. I mean, if you win this fight and go to 4-0, we've seen guys on the Contender Series, which is going to be starting soon, with 4, 5, 6 fights. Is that something to say? Let's just look in the future. Say you win this fight impressively, you get it finished. Is that something that might interest you? You think you might have a shot there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not afraid of competition. That's the thing, is that I will say this, people say, well, maybe look at my fights, oh, you haven't fought anyone super, super talented yet. My opponents are respected, they've done good, but I've said yes to a lot of people. I can go through, we make jokes in my gym, but I've said yes to a lot of people in the gym and to fight. So I want to fight that competition. I want to fight those good guys. So if it's Contender Series or the Bellator, or if it's UFC, whatever it is, I want to see how good I am. At the end of the day, you only have one career, so might as well see how good you are and how talented you are. That's my goal, is to win this fight. And then if I need to win one more fight, get another fight, then I'll fight again for LFA, Ring Combat, or whatever organization, prove it again. But at the end of the day, you're trying to see how good you are. And if you're not, then there's no point in fighting. Just get a different job.
Listen, one thing I love is, like I said, if you can't go in there and try to, you're going to say you want to work on some more tools this time, but also, like you said, if somebody can't stop you from taking them down and you smashing them, then you take them down and smash them. There's no reason that you have to, let me do stand. This is a pro fight, man. You're trying to get paid. You're not trying to lose a fight. So that dominant wrestling obviously is fantastic for your future. Listen, Tom, I've seen a lot of guys on the regional scene, and you definitely have the work ethic and the talent to get there. So LFA 180, Tom Freight, the next stop for the freight train is LFA 180, making the trek to Kentucky from North Carolina. Tom, give some shout outs or some love to your coaches, training partners, any sponsors, or anybody who's giving you that love outside of the cage that's helping you get in there with that extra energy and blood, sweat, and tears.
It's just my team in Belmont, North Carolina, Jeff Jimmo, and my crew down there. And then my training partners, I got Chris Weidman's the main guy I've been training with. Joe Selected helped me out a lot too. And just all my training partners out there, and a gym, and then friends and family back home in Long Island. They're supporting me. They'll be watching back in Garden State. I know they're going crazy. Well, they can't make the trip this time to Kentucky, all my friends, but I know they'll be in Long Island going nuts about the fight. So them too. So I'm just excited for the performance. Excited to put on opportunity for the future.
Well, I'm excited too. I will be glued to the TV at LFA 180, Tom Freight Train Lane. I'm a fan. Thanks for giving me some time. And listen, best of skills to you. Best of luck with your final weight cut. Listen, I don't even know why I even say that to you. You've been wrestling. The weight cut to you is like waking up. It's like